This is a retool. Hello everybody, Daniel here, and I just got Studio Series Junkheap. I have been really freaking excited for this guy because I just think he looks so cool. And I'm not usually a fan of repaints or remolds, but oh my god, I'm just gonna spoil it right now. This is one of the greatest retools of all time. Like straight up, this thing is awesome. But without further ado, let's jump into the overview of Junkheap. And I mean, look at this guy. You can see him on camera right now. Look at this freaking guy. Look at his silhouette, his colors, and his sculpt. He just looks like an absolute beast. Look at this guy. This head sculpt is absolutely glorious. This guy's head sculpt is absolutely awesome. Although I do kind of think his little handlebar ears kind of look like sad puppy dog ears. I don't know. That's probably just me, but I did notice that. And I do think his face is a little dweeby. Like, he looks like he has some glasses on, but honestly, like, he might look dweeby, but in my hand, he just feels like an absolute boss. Like, this guy could take on 5 Decepticons at once, man. Absolutely love that head sculpt. So good. And then moving down, you can see the sculpt difference right here. If we bring in Rhaegar here, who by no means is a bad figure now, by no means. I think I'm actually gonna let both of these guys remain on my shelf for the time being, because man, I will tell you which one of these I like more at the end of the video, but I really love them both. But getting in here close on the sculpting difference with Rhaegar, this is basically an entire new figure, honestly. Aside from sharing the transformation, you basically have an entire new figure. Almost head to toe, he's completely different. Completely different head sculpt, completely different torso right there, completely different. Well, the legs I guess are pretty much the same here. Let's see here. Yeah, sculpting on the legs and down is exactly the same with the wheels, but even the back piece here and what comes out for the motorcycle mode is also different from Rhaegar, and the motorcycle mode looks completely different from Rhaegar and way better. I will just spoil it right now. Oh my lord, wait till we get to that freaking motorcycle mode. If you thought Rhaegar's motorcycle mode was the weak link of the figure, holy shit, this freaking motorcycle mode, dude. Let's just continue before we get into it, because we have so much more to go over here. You can just see how freaking cool this guy is. These giant red spikes right here, and these little ones up top here, so good. I love the colors on this guy. You have this gold, this gray. I just love this like white. This is such an unusual color scheme for a Transformer, and I love it. I am absolutely in love with this color scheme. It looks amazing. Now, you don't have the option to put the wheels on the arms like you do on Rhaegar here. That's one thing, because he gets these new panels. So you have this one right here, which I kind of think of as a shield, so he can like block with it, and then this one on his other arm is a freaking gun. This has a blaster mounted to it, and this is blast effects compatible. So yes, this guy has a gun mounted into his arm, and that is so badass. And give his hand a twist there, and there you go. He can absolutely wreck some Decepticons with that. That is so cool. I absolutely love that. Granted, if you wanted to, you could kind of flip it away if you wanted to not have it there. No, it can't. It doesn't really work because there's not enough clearance. I never really tried that, but I wanted to see if maybe you could, but no, you can't. There's not enough clearance. You could kinda, if you really want to. I mean, you could have him, he could be like resting, and then he can shoot forward if you want to. If you want to do that, hey, if you want to do that, you can do that. But yeah, I love this. And also, you could definitely use that as a shield as well. Although, shooting a gun might not be the best idea. Definitely think this one's probably meant to be the shield piece right there. Super, super cool. And just like Rhaegar, getting into the accessories, he does, of course, include the spinning wheel right here. And you can give this to him as a weapon as well. Even though this guy is already armed to the teeth with a blaster and a shield and these giant spikes, you can still give him the spinny axe right there, and it's just as great as it was on Rhaegar. It has a pin through the joint. It has a pin right there, so it spins freely. It feels amazing. I will say he seems like he actually holds it a little less good than Rhaegar. Rhaegar, he doesn't let that thing go, but Junkheap, I think if you shook it hard enough, it might fall off, but not a huge deal. I actually think I probably will be leaving it on his back anyway, because of course, just like Rhaegar, you can just plug it onto the back just like that and have it stored out of the way right there. So if you want to, you can either leave it on the back, or hey, you could just throw it in your accessory drawer and pretend like all he's got is this gun and this shield, man. I mean, he's ready to absolutely dominate some Decepticons, man. He's already loaded to the teeth and ready to kick some ass. So yeah, I think he just looks awesome, man. I really cannot say that enough. I absolutely love the way this dude looks. Of course, just like Rhaegar, you have all the same details here. The pouches. I will say, just like Rhaegar, if you remember remember my Retgar review, I talked about how loose the waist is, and yes, same thing with the Junkheap here, very loose waist. But just like with Retgar, if you take the mushroom joint and you push it forward a little bit, it feels like I don't know if that's intentional. I still haven't figured out if that's an intentional piece of the transformation. Because it's the same thing on Retgar. You push it forward and then it locks in place a little bit more, but it doesn't feel like it's meant to do that. It just feels like you're moving the mushroom peg forward. It doesn't feel like it's meant to like click in place or anything like that. But it works. You do that, and then the torso piece, like I think I could show you here. Like, look at this. So right now I have the mushroom peg pulled back, and if I bring his arm up here, see, I can spin his torso around just like that with one hand. But if I push it in, and you can even hear kind of a click there, and now I go for it. You see that? The arm moves first. So when I do it, the arm moves first, just like that. There you go. That's it. That's how I can show how this works. So yeah, that's how it works. You have that mushroom joint there, and I really don't know why it does this. I don't know if it really is part of the transformation. It's very possible that it is just part of the transformation. But yeah, you move it forward, and he locks in place. He doesn't swivel around anymore like Masterpiece Beast Wars Megatron. I don't have that figure. I'm just talking about from what other people say about it. But yeah, there you go. That is a Junkheap. That's just about everything to go over with the robot mode. Here are the comparisons. Alright, and for comparison, of course, first off, bringing in Retgar so we can see how they look together. They look absolutely fucking phenomenal together. I love the way they look. Like I said, guys, I really think I'm going to be leaving both of these guys on my shelf. I don't want to put either of them away. I think they are both so freaking sick, and I love the way they kind of go hand in hand. You kind of have a bit more of the lightweight infantry guy here, and then this absolute fucking tank that can just shred everything in his path, man. Really awesome. I think they make an awesome fucking team, and I love these guys, man. This is one of the best molds of recent years, easily. Here he is with Legacy G-Axis right here, so you can see how he looks with that guy. God, his legs are so finicky, man. All right, they have that comparison. They look very good together. Obviously, Voyager class, he's a little bit shorter than GX, just a hair. Actually, now that I look about it, he's basically about the same exact height. So yeah, there you have that. Here he is with Legacy Bulkhead. More Voyager class comparisons. Here he is with Kingdom Ultra Magnus. Here he is with Voyager Hot Rod. Here he is with Galvatron. Here he is with Cyclonus. And here he is with Earthrise Optimus Prime. And now for the transformation. Now the transformation is exactly the same on Retgar, but I'm still going to go through it because there is one extra step into this guy as well, and I do also need to talk about some things with the head, because I will say this guy's transformation does have a little bit, a bit of a step down from Retgar, but also kind of a big step up as well. So it's complicated, you'll understand in a second. So here's the transformation. Like I said, transformation is basically identical. So first off, we want to rip these pieces off here. We want to flip in his hands just like so. If you didn't take the pinwheel axe off, obviously you take that off. I like to put the thin wheel in the middle here, and then we plug that together like that, and then we're going to move up to the top half here. So just like Retgar, we're going to pull him apart at the torso here, bring this piece out just like that, completely out. We're going to bring the arms back. We're going to bring this piece up, and unlike Retgar, where this piece is a bit more difficult to pull out, and it's a little bit of a pain in the butt, this one comes right out. Absolutely no issues whatsoever. So you do that, and then we have to bring this piece up. We have to make sure this piece is flush like that. So it has to sit flat like that. Get that arm out. It has to sit flat like that, and that's going to allow us to bring this up. And this is the main thing I wanted to talk about with this transformation. I have found, so what you have to do is take his head, you have to push his little puppy dog ears back just like that. They actually fold away, which is very, very cool. And then what I found with this guy is you have to get his head in there, and you'll feel like it's like in there, and then you just kind of have to like really brute force it in there. Like you'll feel like it's in there, but you have to go all the way to where this part is actually like lined up with that piece right there. You can see how that looks. That's how it has to look. And if you don't have it like that, it won't transform properly. So you do that, flip him to the other side here, bring in his arms, rotate them around, and get that tab in right there. That's when we can take the other wheel, plug it in to right there, just like that. And then bring this down, rotate that around, and plug that into place, and then tab the arms together just like that to finish off the wheel right there. And then of course we want to come down here, break his legs forward, bring his feet down, and then we want to come down here and we want to tab these pieces into right there on either side, just like on Retgar. And then if you want to, you can leave him like this, and that will give him a little blaster out the front right there, so you can do that. Or we can fold these panels back, and we have a little tab slot right there that's going to go in right there. So there we have one side, and once again, you can totally leave the gun out if you want to. So you can do that, or this piece is completely flexible. You can bring this up and get that right around there, and then tab that in place right there where we are. There we go, just like that. And there you have Junkheap in his absolutely amazing looking motorcycle mode. And take it away, me.
I think it's time for an upgrade.
Look at this freaking motorcycle mode. Oh my lord, this might be the absolute sickest fucking motorcycle mode to ever grace the Transformers. Look at this freaking thing. I never even realized how much the nipple cannons kind of get in the way of this mode. I mean, it's kind of cool to have like some firepower on the front of that. That looks really cool. But you take those away and you add these massive blocks to cover up all of this kibble down there. Oh my lord, this thing looks like an absolute beast. I want to own this motorcycle in real life, like a full freaking life-size version of this thing that I can ride. I cannot get over how fucking sick this looks, and I love the resculpting they've done with this as well. You have a brand new, what is that called? Is that a cockpit? It's definitely not a cockpit, but I don't know what the fuck it's called. I don't know, motorcycle anatomy, but you can see it's completely different on, you know what I'm talking about. It's this big piece right here. It's completely different on Junkheap compared to Retgar right there. The seat is also different. It's fatter on this, and it really, it looks great. Like, it looks like Retgar is trying to be a much more lightweight motorcycle, and yeah, he does that well. I never disliked this alt mode. Let me make that very clear. I've always thought Studio Series 86 Retgar was an absolutely stellar toy. He made my number 3 pick of 2021. I love this figure. I love this alt mode. It's a wonderful figure. But this dude with this massive chunk-tastic fucking motorcycle mode and that awesome looking robot mode and the new sculpting and everything and the way this piece looks, I cannot deny it, man. For once, this is kind of, I think, like the first time this has ever happened. For once, a retool has overthrown the original figure for me. I think Junkheap is leaps and bounds better than Retgar. I honestly do. Now, I'm not saying he's guaranteed a spot on the top figures of 2022 list because, oh my lord, this year has just been an absolute fucking, just a freaking tornado of amazing figures left and right so far, and it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. We just got Wave 3 revealed. Freaking Dragon Megatron looks sick as fuck. I love the way some of those deluxes look. Skullgrin looks awesome, man. I cannot wait for the rest of Legacy, man. And this guy, I don't know if he'll make the cut, if he'll make the cut, but he might. At the moment, I think he would make it in there. Based on my top 10 at the moment, I think he would probably make it in there in like the number 5 or around that spot, like number 5, 6, or 7 maybe. I love this guy. I really do. Let's transform him. Let's do some comparisons, and then we'll give you my final complete thoughts, even though I did kind of already give my final complete thoughts. But get back, the comparisons. Oh, and of course, just like Retgar, you can store the pinwheel axe on the back, and you have these flip-out stands that flip out of the legs right there, which allow you to stand them up with absolutely zero problem on a flat surface. So there you have those little features as well that I almost forgot to point out because I was too busy telling you how amazing this freaking guy is. So now, comparisons. Getting into the comparisons, of course, first off, bringing in Retgar, and you can see just how much remolding they have done to this. We have an entire panel folding, getting rid of all of this kibble right there, which just looks absolutely fantastic, completely losing the nipple cannons right there, but as I showed, you can flip that back out, and you can have a blaster just like Retgar, so he's just as armed, just looks absolutely glorious, and I love the way you have these two pieces right here. These look completely different, the way these two pieces look right there, and I really like to think of it as like, Retgar is like a really fast motorcycle that's like super speedy, and he comes in, just takes out a bunch of Decepticons, freaking roundhouse kick, and then transforms back and gets out of the base. Absolutely awesome. And then you have freaking Junkheap here, who's just an absolute tank, and he can get through any terrain possible, and he's just this massive hulking behemoth of a motorcycle coming through, and he sees a Decepticon, this piece folds out. Absolutely fucking awesome, man. I bet these guys would make an absolutely insane team. Absolutely unstoppable, man. I love these two. I definitely will not be putting with either of these two in storage. They are both way too freaking good for that, man. This is seriously one of the best molds of recent year, man. These two just look so cool together. And just in case you need some more size comparisons, here he is with the Earthrise Datsun mold, Blue Streak, and here he is with the Earthrise Battle Charger mode, Runabout. So there you have your comparisons. He is definitely a very chunky motorcycle, and I fucking love this alt mode, man. But one more thing I have to show before we get into the final thoughts on this guy. Of course, if you have Retgar and Junkheap, you can, of course, have one ride the other in motorcycle mode. So you can recreate the scene from the 1986 movie where the Junkyons are riding on top of each other. That sounds a little bit sus, but yes, you can do that. You can have either Retgar riding on Junkheap, or you can have the other way around like this. You can have Junkheap riding on Retgar right there. Absolutely awesome. I think this is really, really, really cool. We do have more Junkion scheduled. We have a deluxe Junkion coming out in Legacy next year, so there's that. Or is that on the Velocitron wave? I can't remember, but yes, we can do that. Very, very, very cool. So without further ado, let's jump into the final thoughts. Getting into the final thoughts on Studio Series Junkheap, I think he's absolutely amazing. I love this figure, man. I absolutely love this guy. I do like him more than Retgar, straight up. This is a very rare thing where I do prefer the retool. I just love this guy. I just think he's so damn sick, man. I think his tolerances are a little better overall. Not in all places, like the hands are a little bit looser on this compared to Retgar, but honestly, this is not that big a deal. The only one I would say that is actually like even somewhat a negative is that the wheels tab on really securely for Retgar, but on him, when you only have one on, they aren't the most secure thing in the world. You can see it doesn't take much to take them right off of that, when opposed to Retgar, where they really lock in place. That's really the only tiny little reaching for a fucking nitpick I can to tell you why, which one of these is better. I really don't think I really think it's a no-brainer. I just think this guy is superior in pretty much every way. Sculpting better, head sculpt is so freaking cool, the alt mode is leagues better, like, it's glorious. Although, honestly, I don't think he makes Retgar obsolete at all, because we still have this, I like the changes between these two, where you have this very lightweight, like, if this feels like it would go really fast, like it could be your super speedy, freaking Junkion, and then you have Junkheap here, who's just an absolute tank, just walking through and blasting Decepticons in the face, slicing them in half, being just an absolute beast, comes blazing in on Retgar right there, but when it's time for him, he changes and he's got, like, this massive, like, all-terrain motorcycle. That's the kind of feel I get between these two, and that's why I'm going to be leaving both of them on my shelf. I would never usually have more than one mold of a figure on my shelf, in very, very, very rare exceptions, but these two are going to be one of those exceptions, because I can't bring myself to put one away. I just think they're so awesome. I might even display them like that, honestly. I don't know. We'll see. My collection, I can do whatever the fuck I want. But there you have it, everybody. That is Studio Series 86 Junkheap. What a wonderful figure. Definitely pick him up. If you haven't already, I give him an S+. Whatever you didn't like about Retgar, Junkheap knocks out of the park, completely fixes it. Wonderful fucking figure. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, maybe give me a like, subscribe for some more Transformer reviews in the future. The next review is actually going to be a versus review between Core Class Studio Series Shockwave and Core Class Legacy Shockwave. So we're going to be battling these two against each other, and we're going to decide which one is the best based on my opinion, of course. So yes, the first ever versus review on the channel. This should be very, very interesting. I hope you guys are excited for it. But that is it. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and this is DK Guillotine, signing out.